The weight loss goal is not the end game. That is the biggest fallacy in this entire space. Weight loss is not the goal. Health gain and improved quality of life is the goal.
The opinions expressed in the following program are those of the producer and not necessarily those of WKTV Community Media.
Hello, West Michigan. This is Grand Tap Media Business TV. My name is Pamela Keim, your host. The spirit of the show was to introduce West Michigan to all the businesses, nonprofits, individuals that can help us thrive in our lives. Well, we're going to be talking about health, weight loss, our relationship with food. How many of us struggle? How many of us tried everything? Maybe we have equipment at home that we don't get on anymore. Maybe it's programs that we bought and we lost weight, we gained weight. Maybe it is just our relationship with food that we have learned not to eat this, eat it this time. I struggle with that too. I have gone through so many programs, so you're not alone. But that seems to be one of the main topics that people are talking about is how can I get rid of this belly fat? How can I feel healthy and have peace with food? Well, my guest today is going to help us with that, and she's going to answer a lot of questions for all of us that are struggling. So her name is Angela Christoff, and she is the owner of Pura Vida Health, and she has lost 100 pounds and kept it off, and she looks absolutely fabulous, and I look forward to answering. But she has had education at Duke, at Stanford. She knows about nutrition. She knows what triggers us, and she coaches women to finally find peace with their bodies, health, nutrition, to live a lifestyle every day instead of feeling like they have to get up on Monday morning again and start all over again. So I want to welcome to Grand Tap Media, Angela Christoff. Thank you for being here today.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
That was a little bit, you have a nice bio. So I said, I'm going to condense this, and I was going to say we would just talk about it on the show. But the one thing that I reached out to you, I saw you on social media, posting your stuff or whatever, and I'm like, I really need to have her on my show. Because you kind of tapped into things that I'm struggling with, especially as we get older, things that we worked when we were in our 20s and our 30s, after maybe having children, gone through menopause, all that we've gone through. And I'm not just want to talk about women, because men struggle with it too. That we look at things that we have tried, we go back to what was familiar. We go back to all these programs, and they probably, for some of us, do not give us the results, and we still want to tell ourselves, look, I want to wake up during the week and not have to worry about what I'm not doing, what I should be eating. Can you understand that?
I do understand that. I understand that a lot in ways I really don't want to understand
and we get out of the shower and it's like, you can always make a commitment when you've eaten a big meal. It's like, all right, tomorrow I'm going to get at it. When you're full, you can make all the promises you want. But when that hunger starts to hit and those habits start kicking in, and you talk a lot about habits. All right, so first of all, for our guest, who are you? And how did you lose 100 pounds? And what made you be able to look like this, which a lot of us dream that we could wake up and look and say, I feel like you have it all together.
Well, I guess we'll start there. The looks. You know, diet culture wants us to focus on that. Looks are the most important thing. That's the metric for success.
Right.
It wasn't until I finally realized, nope, the entire world has this wrong. And I started to really explore that. Could I stand up to that? Could I look at this entire landscape of diet culture says you're supposed to look this way and challenge that? And I did. And I found my answer as soon as I decided not to adopt that line of thinking.
How many years ago was that, can I ask?
That was 7 years ago.
Wow.
So I woke up first day home after I had my now 7-year-old son. He was just born, crying, hungry, middle of the night, cursing. I was, because I had just fed him 45 minutes earlier. How could you be hungry again?
Exactly.
And I remember sitting up in bed. I was 225 pounds, not a lick of sleep, because newborn, right? And I remember my feet hitting the floor, and they hurt so badly. My ankles, my knees, my back. It took me an entire at least 45 seconds just to physically gather myself because I was so large, so imbalanced, so out of shape, and I was 38 years old. And I thought to myself, I can't live like this. I can't function like this, and I can't raise a child like this.
Did you struggle with weight before?
I did, but not to that extent. By
Okay.
that point, that was my heaviest. At 225 was my heaviest. Now, some people will look at that and go, but you just had a baby. Yeah, but I was overweight when I got pregnant with both my kids. I was overweight in between. I was overweight before I was pregnant with my first one. So I always struggled with my weight, not to that extent, but that was my rock bottom, was that moment when I thought, I can't keep doing this.
As somebody that has struggled with their weight, because I was in college when I was 60 pounds overweight, and funny thing, they took a picture of a group of us, and I looked in the front row, and I was standing there, and I looked at my husband, and I said, is that what I look like?
Is that what I look like?
Because sometimes it's just a shocker. Is that what I look like? Because sometimes we kid ourselves. We don't look, we walk by the mirror, but somehow, I don't know. It's like, why did I see it?
The camera adds 10 pounds, but any camera that was ever on me was at least 50 or 60 more for sure. But this was the real kicker. So in that moment, when I went downstairs to feed him, I thought, I can't mother like this, and I can't exist in this way. Fast forward another 3 months, and I had gone back to the doctor for my wellness visit. 38 years old, A1C, pre-diabetic. And I thought, okay, we're done with this now. This is not going to turn into a situation where I am dealing with diabetes before I've hit 40. I'm not doing life this way. And from that moment onward, we did things differently.
Well, that's wonderful.
And it starts in the head.
And how long did it take you to take off 100 pounds?
Well, I don't know, because it was the first time that I never actually set a weight loss goal. The goal was never around weight loss for me. The goal was around health gain. It was about changing the way the metrics looked, and it was about trying to restore cholesterol health and metabolic function. It was about trying to get rid of this pre-diabetes diagnosis and get my A1C levels down. It was all about the health metrics. It was all about health gain. So I never set a weight loss goal. I said, I'm gonna eat the way humans were meant to eat, and I'm not gonna participate in this toxic food landscape anymore. And I'm not gonna participate in all of this cultural conditioning anymore that says, you're supposed to eat this at that social function with these people and just smile and be a good girl about it.
Well, you have peace with food, I can see that, especially when we communicated on the phone. All right, so as somebody like me, you know, you say eat like humans are supposed to be eating. Well, you have the vegan people are telling you that's how people eat. You got the carnivore people are saying that's how people ate. All these things, and I'm just like, and all of those are just the newest of fads. Well, vegan's been around, but carnivore has now, and now you have keto, right? All of these programs, and I'm just like, most of us have out there, I'm sure, they have tried some of these, but keeping it off. See, now I look at you, you know, my first thought is, how did you keep it off? Because some people say, oh yeah, you see them, they lose 25, 30 pounds, and then you see them a year later, and it quickly came back on.
A lot of what we do in health coaching is it's vision and values work. It's identifying and designing a future version of yourself, articulating values and priorities for that future self, and using a distinct goal-setting process to articulate, identify, and attain those goals, and building the health roadmap that helps you get there, a pathway, a playbook.
Well, you went, but there's a difference. You lose 100 pounds. Tell everybody how you did it. But you actually went and
So
was able to
this
get
goes back to not having set the weight loss goal. So if you were to ask me if I was happy with the body I had when I got to the loss of 105 pounds, I will say no, because I had lost more muscle mass than I wanted to by the time I had lost that weight. It's about the weight maintenance part is, so how have I kept it off for 7 years? Because there was no weight loss goal. The goal was only around eating properly. The goal was only around becoming better friends with myself. The goal was only around becoming better friends with God's food and getting rid of the barcode food. You know, all of these ultra processed foods that surround every sort of cultural and social event that we're exposed to. Just not participating in that game, getting off the field. Those were the goals. So if you think about it in that context, weight maintenance is just going to become a viable ending to that story, because I never actually worked towards losing a set number of pounds. That was an outfall or an outcome of the practices I had instilled around what kind of relationship I wanted with myself, with other people, and with my diet.
So you kept off your weight, like you mentioned, you went into nutrition, then all of a sudden you moved towards, you realized that women, or people, I keep saying women, because I'm around a lot of women that struggle, but I don't know many guys, they say, I'm gonna lose some weight. They're more cavalier about it, more than women are. Women are more emotional. You can't even talk about it. And then you start a business and coaching, because you realized what? When you were going through your journey?
Well, the interesting thing is I've spent 25 years in the space of health, wellness, weight management, worked for the world's largest vitamin and supplement manufacturers. This has been my entire professional life.
Oh, wow.
Forever.
Okay.
So that's kind of the ironic thing about this, is here you have this person who is 225 pounds and she's traveling around the world running these nutrition and weight management focus groups with people. And all the while I'm thinking, my gosh, this is totally imposter syndrome. I know everything I'm supposed to be doing and I'm not doing any of it. So part of what I decided I needed to do was I needed to leave the corporate construct. So although this has always been sort of my professional space, I've switched business models, if you will. So I've left corporate and I've gone into private practice because I want to work with women one-on-one in a more direct way where I can see the impact of the fruits of their labor. When I'm generating all of this information for companies, that's great. They can come up with new products and bring new ideas and solutions to market. When I get to work with women, I get to see them create a whole new version of themselves, design a roadmap, a health roadmap for how to get there, partner with them as their health strategist to implement behavior changes that allow them to achieve those goals, and then just watch them gain all of this health and this confidence and this self-reliance about how to take care of themselves. It is magic to watch this process happen. That's why I do what I do.
All right, so you women, okay, so you...
I do work with men on occasion. The challenge with men is they're not socially allowed to talk about this very much.
No, they
and that's
don't.
a whole other segment, unfortunately.
They do
do
not.
work with some men, and they don't feel safe talking about it. They are as victimized by diet culture as women are, and probably even more so because they don't feel allowed to talk about it. But they deal with the same thing. There is stigma around being overweight, no matter the gender, no matter the age, no matter anything.
Yeah,
It's
I
just more
agree.
common and socially accepted for women to talk about it, to struggle with it, to be more open about it.
I think you're right. And I don't see many men talking about it like women do. We start off with just, you know, we get together with your girlfriends, you start talking, and then all of a sudden it's who's on the latest, who's done what, how many people have, you know, it's always about, then it's about weight. But you went on to get your education in the field that you are
In health coaching and
at Stanford,
nutrition
and
planning.
you went at Duke and whatever, and that's to what? You wanted to look, because you said you were in the vitamin and all that, but you realized there was something that you didn't know? What was it that you were looking for when you went into that?
I wanted to become a certified integrative health coach. I mean, the way that you create, sustain, and sustain behavior change is through a coaching process. Now, that part is not something that is from sort of the corporate background. The intel is, the information and the knowledge management is. I've spent years in the field of human behavior, but this is different. This is about guiding people through a distinct behavior change process within the health context, where they're setting goals by a distinct coaching process and designing a health roadmap that helps them get to that end state. That's what the coaching process was about.
Can you give us an example on what that would look like if we walked into your office, and let's say I walked into your office? How does the process start, and what are you exactly looking for me to share with you on
Sure.
information?
That's a great question. We always start with vision and values work. It's sort of the adult way of navigating or exploring who do you want to be when you grow up. Now, when we're kids and our parents are posing that question to us, in American culture, it's very much in the context of a job. Like, what do you want to do when you get bigger? You want to be a teacher or a dancer or the president of the United States or whatever. But when we do vision and values work, according to Duke's model of integrative health coaching, it's really about painting a picture of a future sense of self. It's the future version of you. And it starts with things like, what do you want to be doing in 5 years? Who do you want to be doing it with? Who are you surrounded by? What kinds of things are you enjoying? Where are you traveling to? It's painting a picture. It's your true north. It's that person you're going to pin up on your wall and say, this is who I'm working for. This is the girl that I'm doing all of this work for. I'm going to bring her to life. And so that's where we start.
And how do they respond? Do they struggle with that?
Yes.
Do they just say, I want to be a size 4 and I want to not think about food?
That's not the right answer.
Yeah.
This isn't about pant size. I mean, pant sizes are a way that clothing manufacturers understand how to create production forecasts. It has absolutely nothing to do with status or health condition or weight health. I mean, it doesn't have anything to do with that. So what we're doing is we're painting a picture, and a lot of them will do it, clients will do it with pictures, collages, or they'll do it verbally with words. Everybody uses a different medium to express themselves. But we get very precise in our identification and articulation of that future self, and that becomes their true north. That's who they're working for. And every time they set a new goal or a series of action steps they're going to undertake in support of that goal, that future version of her becomes the target, the true north. So it's no more about, well, how many points does that piece of chocolate cake have? Or Noom says, you know, that's a red traffic light. I shouldn't eat that. Whatever. We don't do that.
You can have carbs?
We don't. Oh my gosh, you're supposed to eat carbs. You're just supposed to eat the carbs that God grew, not the ones that came out of the lab.
I just want to eat carbs without feeling bad. It's like, okay, there's spaghetti there. You understand. We got spaghetti, rice, stuff, lasagna, and you're like, oh God, that tastes so good. And, you know, but I only should have half.
Oh no, there's room for all of it. Weight management is all about lever management. So there's a whole bunch of levers that drive what's happening with our body weight, what's happening with our body composition, what's happening with the amount of fat that we have, you know, viscerally and whatnot relative to the lean body mass we have.
Yeah.
So all we're doing in weight management is taking all those levers and just playing with them. We're just dialing some of them up and dialing some of them down. You eat the lasagna, but maybe it's with a little less frequency than you were doing before. You can have the wine, but we have it with a little bit less frequency than we have before. Coaching in particular is a creative and an experimental process. We try a bunch of different things on to see how they stick. Some things are going to feel really good to some women, other things not. This is why this is a highly individualized, personalized, and custom space. There's other things that are going to work really effectively for some women and ineffectively for others. It's about playing with those levers to see what is sticky. If it's sticky, it's going to last. And when it lasts, that's when you get permanence and sustainability with your weight loss solution.
How do you, we're all habit, right? We're all a habit. We are what our habits are. Habit is you have coffee.
Very identity
You know,
driven.
that's, you know, you have certain things on the weekends. You look, people look forward to it. Like Friday night, pizza night.
Friday night's pizza night.
Yes, for most people that have children, it's a night. So how do you, when you're coaching, let's just say that you find out what my habits are. I share, you know, so probably go through your whole day. You know, what do you, and we all think that we know, and I can stop, but there's something about, it happens in the body that physically, that you pick up. Like I couldn't imagine wanting to get up and I have coffee in the morning. And when people say, could you wait like an hour? You know, I've been on programs. Say, could you wait an hour? I've tried. It's not something, I always say to my husband, I don't want to not. I want to figure out a program where I can have coffee first thing in the morning. I don't want to change too much.
So the challenge with that, and this is what happens with off-the-shelf in the box programs. That idea came from somebody else. Try to wait an hour before you have coffee in the morning. You didn't come up with that. You didn't own that. Well, guess what? No one washes a rental car. The only thing that people will stick by is the stuff they come up with themselves. That's why the coaching-based solutions work so well with weight management, because the whole process is you coming up with the things that you're going to test. So you would be the one to generate a collection of ideas about what you would do to tweak up your coffee routine. You might never suggest that you wait an hour to drink coffee when you wake up in the morning. But if someone else suggests that, and you're like, I don't want to do that. So the coach will always produce some of them. You know, when we have brainstorming sessions with clients, like we will contribute to the pool, if you will.
Yes.
But at the end of that brainstorming session, the client is going to be called on to say, of these 10 ideas, which are the top 3 that seem most appealing to you to try on for size for the next 2 weeks? Those are the ones people get excited about.
Yeah, is it really baby steps?
It's baby steps.
Is it?
Yes.
And what does most women ask you at dinner parties and stuff, when you kind of tell your story, what you do? They lean over and they say what? What is one of the main questions you hear? You can hear it consistently.
I don't get a lot of it anymore because it's been a long time. But in the beginning, when people would ask me about it, I think the first thing that comes to mind is alcohol. People want to be told that it's okay to drink all the time. Now, you can, but there's implications to it.
Yeah.
Everybody loves wine and cocktails and, you know, beer on the boat.
Yeah.
I get it. But like, I go back to the levers. Like, you don't have to eliminate anything. You just have to tweak stuff up and down. Here's the other thing. Some people are really comfortable with the health outcomes and the physique that they have when they practice a ratio of I'm on my diet 60% of the time and I indulge and do what I want the other 40%. For other people, that's not the right ratio. The right ratio for them might be as tight as 95-5. Everybody needs to play with what is the most comfortable and realistic, sustainable balance for me in terms of the health outcomes and metrics that are important to me and that I value, my appearance, my physique, the way I look and feel in my clothes and my sense of self in my body, and the practices that I have to employ on a regular basis in order to produce both of those. When I get all 3 of those lined up, I've got the system going right. If not, there's still something else that I need to work on, and that's okay. We don't stop working on ourselves forever.
No, and we do go through seasons. I always tell people I'm in a different season than you are. This is not going to work for you. I have to tweak it all the time because something will happen. All right, looking at you, did you implement strength training? You know, weightlifting? Are you a runner? Because I would look at you and I think, well, yeah, she lifts weights. Is that something that you kind of introduce to your clients as they start to see some of the weight come off?
I do if they drive the conversation in that direction. I do not tell people what to do. A lot of women come to me and they are used to commercial weight loss programs that serve the solution to them on a silver platter. It's especially true with the corporate, the executive women. Like, I've been there, I know that. I don't know if I have the time or the capacity or the energy to design a behavior-based way of interacting with food. Just tell me what I'm supposed to eat.
Yes.
Yes, but that is the yo-yoing, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I could tell people what to eat and they would lose weight immediately. But knowing what to eat and knowing how to make food decisions aren't remotely the same thing. The first kills the wasp. The second kills the nest. My practice goes after the nest. I am in the business of helping women learn how to make different decisions about how to nourish their bodies. That is different than just following a meal plan.
And our relationship with food is getting rid of all of these, what we've been told, fruit is bad, bananas are bad.
Yes.
You stay away from the ice cream, so maybe you should give up sweets. We've all heard it. A lot of people probably out there have tried, okay, I'm not going to. All right, so what has been the success rate of the women you've been in business for a while? Have you seen, 60%, 70%? Because we all look at that when people say, well, if somebody said this program, 70, 80% of people will lose 25 pounds or more.
Yeah.
What have you?
My metrics are a bit different. So I track success metrics more anecdotally, the way that people describe how their quality of life has changed because they've participated in one of these programs. There is a substantial increase in clarity about how to take care of themselves, how to nourish their bodies, how to mindfully be aware and lean into what they're experiencing psychologically and emotionally. And that is so much the foundation of making food decisions that affect us physically. The self-confidence goes up immensely. Self-reliance. I always tell people, look, I'm trying to work myself out of a job. If I can work with you for the next 6 to 12 months and you have learned what you need to learn about how to take best care of you and you don't need me after that, then I did my job.
Well, that's just it. When it comes to self-talk, and also how much we hate we start to hate ourselves and feel guilty. I think that emotion has to go somewhere.
Yeah.
And I think women are, anybody that's overweight, struggling, we're just so brutal.
Yeah.
Of ourselves. We say the awfulest thing
There
about
were
ourselves.
3 things that I quit doing at the time 7 years ago that I decided to start this journey. And then there was one thing that I added to it. These are real foundational, almost like spiritual practices. The first 3 that I quit doing: no more blame, no more judgment, no more excuses. And that's hard work. That is showing up, taking a look in the mirror and saying, like, I'm just not making excuses for this anymore. I'm not judging myself anymore for the decisions that I made a long time ago when I had access to a completely different information set. And I'm not blaming me or anybody else for these circumstances anymore. This is not about the food. This is about our response to the food, which means it's about our response to ourselves. So there's a whole lot of unpacking that goes on when we decide no more blame, no more judgment, no more excuses. And then the thing that I added to that was, I'm gonna show up for these commitments that I'm making to myself as best as I can every day with passion and purpose. That's my new job. And so that's what I did. Again, there was no weight loss goal.
And all right, so now you have your business. So who is your ideal client? Now, what client out there, this is who I'm targeting?
Most of the people that I work with are women. I'm a holistic weight loss coach and nutritionist for women. Most of the women I work with are women. Most of the women I work with are women. Most of the people I work with are women. A lot of them have had multiple attempts at commercial weight loss programs, who have had temporary success but have not figured out yet how to keep the weight off. And so there is a pretty big yo-yo component to the people that I work with.
Well, that's a lot of women. I would
yeah.
say you wouldn't have a hard time finding those because we all have exercise equipment. We've all tried it. I've had friends that went Weight Watchers. Now I have friends that, get the stuff in the box. So I'm watching to see if they're able to keep that off. They had great success. And then now, okay, we'll see what it looks like in a year because it's real life.
The weight loss goal is not the end game. That is the biggest fallacy in this entire space. Weight loss is not the goal. Health gain and improved quality of life is the goal. So if you have ever gained weight back after losing it, then it wasn't the right diet for you. It wasn't the right lifestyle for you.
Yeah.
The ones that work won't stop working.
That's true. And for people out there that is like, what, this might be for me, or my daughter, my sister that's struggling, whatever, how can they reach Angela and learn more about your program?
I would offer that they could visit my website at puravidahealthllc.com, and I'm also found on Instagram and Facebook, and I believe the details will be provided.
Yes, I will provide those. Is there anything that we, before we end the interview, is there anything that we didn't share that you'd like to?
I think I would just add that transformation really begins with the belief that a solution exists. So for all of the women out there who have literally tried everything left, right, and 18 times on Sunday, it's out there. The solution is out there for you. You need to design it.
Okay, all right. So we want to thank Angela Christoff for being here today
My
from
pleasure.
Pura Vida Health. And we'll have you back because I'm going to be focusing a lot about health during my season 6 because I really feel like this is really what people are struggling, especially since 2020. All right, this is Grand Tap Media Business TV. We will catch you next time. Take care, everyone.